Hello, my lovelies. Hello, my darling Minnassa. How are you?
I am doing very well, thank you. How are
I am
you?
so excited to meet you
I
properly.
am thrilled too. The feeling is mutual.
I've been looking forward to this all day. And I'm going to say just thank you for you've rearranged schedules to come and do this. So truly appreciated.
And so you know that I've done that. Gerald also does his shows during the daytime. And
I know.
so I have let Gerald know. I'm letting you know, Gerald, I will play hooky from work to be on your show one afternoon. I mean,
we won't
rearrange my schedule.
Very much appreciate it. So excited. As I said to you earlier, before we come, I'm going to heap lots of praises on you, so you better be ready for this, okay? Because before we say hello to everyone, I want to just say how I discovered you, or found you. I didn't discover, but how I found you, and what a joy you brought to my life during a bit of a hectic, dark week. I saw you on the Pride video channel that you did on that with Gerald and Cheyenne. And that was just wonderful. And then I went onto your podcasts and listened to those ones, and they're a delight. And if you haven't listened to Minnassa's podcast, please do, because not only are they very informative, they're very calming as well. Listening to your voice in a lying down on the bed, wonderful. I recommend it.
Well, and that Pride show, I'm telling you, Gerald just bought the energy.
Well, he does that in spadefuls, doesn't he? In bucket loads.
Yes, indeed. It was just easy to go with it. I'm blaming it on him.
He's got a lot of wonderful energy and all the time, and that's great because quite often he's lively when I've just done a full day, and it's like gives me the energy to go on, as you all do. So, should we say hello to a few people before we start?
Hello. Yes.
So let's see who is here first. Firstly, Sandra. Hello, Sandra, to you, my lovely. She's saying hello to you, Minnassa. Orshi is here. Hello, Orshi. Lovely to have you here. We're working on some cards, but listening. That's fine. That's fine. Gerald, speak of the devil. He can't stay. He's looking forward to the plague back. So enjoy the live. Thank you so much. Kristen is here. Hello, Kristen. Hope you're doing okay. And Lily is here. Hello, Lily. Welcome.
That's my daughter.
Is it? Hello. How lovely. We might have to tell us a little bit about Lily later on.
That's true.
That's true. Hang on, Gerald's saying, I usually bring something, insert fan flop.
That's right. That is right.
Here we go.
There you go.
There it is. Okay. He's blushing. I'd love to see him blush. That's great. I don't think I've missed anyone else, but if I have, hello and welcome. And I'm sure we're going to pop in a moment and we'll be getting more people on, and everyone's saying how lovely. Welcome, Lily. You are truly welcomed here. Right, are we ready? Because firstly I need to put this up first. You've already prepared, but I want to talk about this. The Diva of Divination.
The Diva of Divination.
I mean, just when I saw that, I thought
that's right. You got to be self-identifying.
Absolutely. What's the phrase? If you don't toot your horn, no one's going to toot it.
That's right. That's right.
Dolly said that, didn't she? Something along the lines of that one. I love it. Let's start then. When did your interest in tarot and oracles start?
It's something that I've always had an interest in, but I grew up in a very traditional sort of Christian home, and like my mother had horoscopes. Yeah. So, I would see them and read them, but she's a Pisces, my opposite sign. So of course, everything in those didn't apply to me, but I grew up. And so I had an interest. I went to a very conservative Christian school. Of course, my mom wanted me to get the best education because in the US, as an African-American woman, I need all the paper I can get. So that school, everything was evil. Most conservative Christians will say that sex is great if you're married, but if you're not married, it's bad. I had a teacher who actually said you should only have sex for procreation. So that's the extremes of stuff I was hearing. And of course, anything outside of that was evil. So I would get my tarot cards, actually basically was horoscopes. And then Shirley MacLaine did Out on a Limb. And I watched that show. And she went to a store called the Bodhi Tree Bookstore. And Lily's godfather, my friend for almost 40 years, Michael and I got on the freeway and went down to the Bodhi Tree Bookstore, and my mind was blown.
Wow.
So many books. Now I'm trying to think if they even had tarot cards in there. I mean, the energy, the atmosphere, the everything. And so it's always been my interest. And the other thing is, I didn't realize I was operating in my gifts all along. So like when I was 6 and 7, young like that, my little neighbor friends would come to me with their kid problems and I would be solving them, right? I was connecting to my claircognizant, because I know, I would just know what to do. And in high school, I realized if I was like a straight bitch for entertainment purposes only, I could have just been like destroying people's lives, because people have always come to me for advice, always come to me for that. So I was using those gifts all along. I just didn't know it. And then to see Shirley MacLaine, and then I think kind of Oprah, just that sort of new age, new thought opening. And then I thought, I'm going to get me some tarot cards. I don't even know how that happened, but I think there's a lady who's Candy Soul and Soil.
Yeah, Candy Soul and Soul. Yeah.
I don't know if she was on your show.
She was. Yeah, we had a chat. We did a casual like this a couple of weeks ago. And her artwork was amazing.
Yes. And when she talked about her divorce, that the book she created, the art she created, the last 100 days of her marriage, not knowing at that time it was the last 100 days, but really how the tarot sort of helped me. I got my, right away. Think back in the day, I'm not even sure where I bought it. I don't even have, my Rider Waite is a tuck box. And I don't even have the top on it anymore. So that's how destroyed it is, right? But it really helped me. And so this is how I would do a tarot reading initially. Because I'm a Virgo, so I've got to be in control, son, and I got to practice. So I would pull your cards. I knew how to lay the Celtic cross spread.
Yeah.
I would then go to the internet, and there's 3 sites that I would use, because 2 give a very strict sort of by the Rider Waite, and then another one gave a more kind of esoteric meaning of the cards. And then I would read those things, and then my intuition was working, and then I would give you a reading based on that. But I have a love for that whole thing. And one of my cousins saw me. She's like, "Oh, you use the cards?" She goes, "I do that." And so several of my cousins, my daughter included, not my cousin, because I do live in the South, but my daughter is not my cousin. I want to just clarify that. Okay?
I love that.
That's right. She's not my cousin, but my cousins all have those types of gifts. And even my mother, of course, Pisces sun, And so that's sort of have an interest. I love the imagery. I love the way now that it's, for lack of a better word, blown up, where you can have 70 tarot decks and be completely different. But I do have a special place in my heart for the Rider Waite deck.
I was going to say that was which was your favorite system. What is it about the RWS then that speaks to you perhaps more than others?
I feel like it's the foundation. So you and I talked about the Dreams of Gaia deck, and you said, that it doesn't mirror or not based so much on the Rider Waite deck, which is true.
Yeah.
So I think whatever you're going to do with tarot, in my opinion, you have got to know the Rider Waite deck. So even like I have, Richie, do you have the Akashic Tarot deck?
I do. I can go and get one.
No, it's good. But that also is somewhat not based on the Rider Waite.
Yeah.
And same with Dreams of Gaia. But even in there is a little bit of that. So to me, the Rider Waite is the foundation. you can build on that. If you don't have a strong foundation, oh, thank you, Whispering Well. Put my little link in there. If you
Copy
don't
that,
have a
Miss
strong
Sandra. Thank you for
foundation,
that one.
it's harder to use your gifts. You know. Like people say, oh, well, I didn't take the time to learn the cards. I just read intuitively. I'm like, I read intuitively too, but I
Yeah.
know what the card means. It's like
Exactly.
I want to go to a doctor and say, oh, I didn't take time to go to medical school. I just use my intuitive gifts. Be like, buddy, back up. All right, I'm out of this office. Right? I'm just out of this office.
I think you're absolutely right. And I mean, I learned the tarot from a book verbatim, like that card means that and that means, and in a way that cramped the intuitive part of me. But because I took a break from the tarot and then came back a lot later, I didn't go and relearn the tarot. It was already in there.
Correct.
And then I could build on with it. And it's almost, I felt like a safety net, so that if a reading doesn't quite work out or you lose something, you've got that little bit of knowledge just to keep you safe and keep you back on track. And I find that really comforting.
I agree. And the thing, I think what a lot of people don't know is that even with the tarot, you're looking at it, here's your tarot reading, here's your one card. No, you're using a Celtic cross spread, or you're using some other type of spread. And so that card with the entirety of the cards, the meaning could shift.
Yes.
But if you don't know what it means originally, like I had a friend talking about the 7 of Swords, dishonesty, deception. But she said, with the right set of other cards, it could be clever.
Yes. Yes.
Or you got a good plan, or you got away with something, maybe not even deceptive.
Yeah.
So Asia Rising said,
right. And the cards around it, sometimes you have to be deceptive for a good reason.
Correct.
So little white lies perhaps you have to tell for a very good reason. And
correct.
as you say, it's the surrounding cards. And that's one of the things I love about it. Absolutely love. And another reason why I like Lenormand cards, because that's how you build them up that way as well, is that it's like writing a sentence. You've got your verbs, you've got your nouns, you've got your adverbs, and that all builds up with the reading as you go through it.
Now, see, I didn't know you use those cards. I am still in the process of learning. I saw Tony Poole or whoever, the card geek, and I was like, what are these little cards? And I have like 3 decks already, and I have the book by Raina George, and I have her deck.
Yeah.
And yes, so to me, the tarot is more about spiritual connection, and where to me, and I saw someone said, I like Minnassa. She speaks her mind. It's like, you know what? When you old bitch like me, I'm going to speak my mind. And you can tell me something. You can tell, right. But, to me, the Lenormand system seems to be more predictive.
Yeah.
Right. Because energies change. But like, I'll tell you, I did Lenormand reading. The first card I got was, I think, the coffin for my daughter, which is card number 8. And I was like, this is an awful card, right, in my mind. The next card was mice.
Yeah.
Right. So this is already a bad combo. Right. So thank God I laid out the other 5. So I'm like, oh my God, my daughter's going to South Africa to teach English for the Peace Corps. And she's asking a question about that. And I'm like, right. So after I tried to be her mommy and give her this kind, loving reading, I went to Raina George's book, and I said, when you're asking a timing question, then these cards have different meanings. Well, with card number 8. Well, she's leaving in August.
Yeah.
So I love that. So do you use Kipper cards also?
I haven't. I was gifted a Kipper deck and I haven't used it. I got it about the same time as I started to learn or relearn the Lenormand, and I fell in love with the Lenormand. And I have to be honest, I found the Lenormand quite an easy system to use and work with. And a lot of people say if going from tarot to Lenormand is quite difficult, because the Lenormand, as you said, it tells you the answer. It slaps it around your face and puts it on a post-it note, puts it on your forehead and goes, there you go, there's your answer. Whereas the tarot is all very, all this that's going on.
Indeed.
And I just love that about having the 2 systems, because sometimes you just need a direct answer, don't you? That's what
very
we're
true.
after.
Very
but
true.
I haven't done Kipper, and I don't do any playing cards or anything. No. But I am going to try and learn Uncle Alistair's magic cards called the Thoth at some point.
I've seen that. That just It's like,
I've been
okay,
putting it off. I've been saying this for nearly a year now, and it hasn't happened. So it will happen when it's supposed to.
it's
But
very true.
other
Very
things
true.
come along that I just enjoy doing, and yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
have you used runes?
I am really interested in runes. I have made my own set of runes, and I've got
What?
a few. Well, I haven't whittled them from stone. And you know, let's be. It wasn't like the Hobbit. I didn't have to go and fetch them off a farmhouse. All right, I made some clay tablets and sort of just so yeah, I made some, and I never got around to really properly using them. And I want to know more, but I just want to know more about the tarot and more about the Normand, and that's where I kind of feel comfortable. So
Okay.
again, I will do, but I have occasionally just pulled a rune out and sort of just thought about it. But I'm quite interested at the moment in dowsing.
So that's using the.
Using I tend to use the crossover rods rather than the
Okay.
pendulum because pendulums don't particularly work for me at the moment. So that's where my interest is lying.
Okay, good.
Can only give it a go, can't you?
And
Only give
you
it a go.
do. Now tell me how did you get interested in tarot? It's very interesting. If you were a woman, I wouldn't be surprised. I was thinking on my way home, I thought, Gerald had all these British guys, and I think it just hurt my brain. I was like, what do you mean? I could see one British guy, I could be like down with that, that's fine. Especially like Robin, who is from moving forward, I will refer to him as Dumbledore because that's who he is. I recognize him. I told my wife, I'm like, I saw Dumbledore from Harry Potter. I said, now I know that Harry Potter is true. It is somewhere there in England. And I saw Dumbledore. I said, he had a wand, right? But for me, my own stereotype, like I live in the South, but my daughter's not my cousin, right? But that thing, like, British, they're like, chip, chip, period, and stiff upper lip, give me some tea. And then, like, I don't think of British people as intuitive and,
Really?
being into the mysteries. But you guys have Stonehenge. So how did you?
Yeah, we've been doing it for a few thousand years.
Exactly. So how did you get introduced to?
I just came across a book one day that I thought was a bit interesting, and I was at school, and the book was in the library, and I took it out and read it under the covers because I knew my parents wouldn't approve because that was witchcraft and all of that black side, and I was devil worshipping just by reading a book about the tarot. And I bought my set of cards and I kind of played about and didn't do it, but it stuck with me. And even at times, and for probably about 10 years after that, I was regularly using cards, regularly doing readings for people. And then it stopped for whatever reasons. I stopped reading the tarot, and then about 5 years ago, it came back again. And by this point, Tarot Tube had come into existence, and I just loved it. And I just thought, oh yes, I want to pick up the cards. And not only did I pick them up, I bought loads of them as well. But it was perfect just through the pandemic and stuff to start a channel to get that interest up. And yeah, I just enjoy it. And I enjoy talking about them. I enjoy the cards. I enjoy doing readings for people. It's just a fabulous hobby.
It is. It is. I love them too.
I'm just going to read out some of the lovely comments that people have been putting in. I'm going to say hello to Joan first. Hi, Joan.
Yes,
lovely.
and Joan was really interested in the show. I was on another show, and she goes, I was lurking. I said, I'm lurking. She goes, Minnassa, I thought your show was on right now. I'm like, no, girl. So her and I are talking about my own thing on someone else's show.
Well, very welcome here. Beth, hi, Beth. She's saying, I like Minnassa because she says her mind. I like the honesty mixed with compassion, and I sense that she has this. Sorry to talk about you in the third person.
No worries.
Agree. And then, look at the love. Look at the love for you. There's a lot of love in there. Okay.
That's because there's love here. You bring love with you, and that's the energy you have with your.
Well, thank you. I think it's good to pass it around, isn't it? It's absolutely
Yes.
you guys are awesome. Beth saying the British are incredibly eccentric and they have more ghosts than anybody.
That's true.
We do. Yeah.
And the fact that even like a British, that again, that's that American. Well, they can't be, tarot and how can they started the show? I mean, America is so young that just that. But as American, we know everything. We did everything. We're the. So yeah, but again, yes, tarot. You've been all over so you've taken all over the countries and then got kicked out of all the countries, right? And
Exactly.
then
Lost all the countries.
but
Thank
here
goodness.
you go. Here you go. And
Exactly.
you know what? Happy Platinum Jubilee to Queen Elizabeth.
Thank you. It's been a really lovely last week was fantastic, and it was just nice to go and celebrate with people and to get together and meet people in the street who you wouldn't normally talk to, because being British, we don't talk to anyone unless we've been introduced to them before.
Correct.
But it was just nice to go and just have a really long weekend and just relax, watch some telly, some great stuff, some great concerts, some great celebrations.
Jack is reminding us to take a drink.
Just have a lovely, lovely time. And yes, the Queen, God bless her, 70 years. Hey?
I will say I was really concerned when her husband passed away. I wasn't sure. First of all, no disrespect for her, but she's a tough old broad. But I was concerned that even with her, but at the Jubilee, this is the first time she looked older to me.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought, she's been carrying this mantle, this authority, this love and compassion for her people 70 damn years.
Absolutely.
It's like
just that whole idea of service and from a young age taking on such a huge job and still doing it, and where most of us would have gone, no, you can have this after a few years. I don't.
Very true. And I think she's a rarity because there's 3 men in line behind her. So I think it's going to be a while before there's another queen. So she is really just setting the bar high.
So high. And, and it's just nice to have a chance to celebrate somebody. She's got a birthday coming up again very, very soon. And for somebody that doesn't have an older generation, grandparents of now, to have somebody that age that you just respect and just.
Indeed.
Fantastic.
Indeed. And also kudos to her grandson, Louis, who let the whole world know this shit's born to a kid.
Oh, Lily says, me and Mum are Americans that like tea over coffee.
Yes, I do not drink coffee. When I want to pretend that I'm an adult, like at a restaurant, I'll have coffee with my dessert. Yes, but I just don't I love tea. So right now I'm drinking a red tea from Africa. But I turned my wife on to English breakfast tea and Irish breakfast tea, which are two of my favorites.
I love an English breakfast. Do you have Earl Grey? Earl Grey is my favorite.
Now, Richie, you said that you loved me before, so I want that to stand when the next words come out of my mouth. Okay, I don't like the taste.
That's fair enough.
What is that spice that's in
bergamot.
There? I don't like it.
It's fine.
Okay, thank
you. There's 1,000 other tea flavors.
True.
I like a Russian caravan that's smoky, or an Assam, something like that.
Oh.
I'll have to send you some tea bags one time.
This sounds very good.
All she suddenly, her ears pricked up when she said Harry Potter was being talked about.
So I'll have to make a confession about Harry Potter. So I said that I went in and out of my traditional Christianity. So my cousin reached out to my sister, to my daughter, and my cousin is my cousin. She said, hey, Lily, let's watch the Harry Potter. She wanted her to go with her to Harry Potter Land at Universal Studios. That's when we lived in California. And my daughter had to say, I don't know anything about Harry Potter, because when Harry Potter came out, my mother said that is witches and warlocks, and you cannot participate. Now, as an adult, I read that whole series. I was like, this is not a kid's book. I tell you, I was traumatized. I watched the movies with her. She did my hair one day. I had more hair than this. And we did a movie marathon and watched all the movies. They do not touch the books.
No, they don't.
It's like, you don't know Harry Potter if you just watch those movies.
I was working in the book trade when Harry Potter was kind of coming out, and it was just mad. The big parties, the launches, the stolen scripts. It was just
wow.
I know. It was exciting, but it kind of put me off Harry Potter, having worked in the book industry at that time.
I see.
Yeah.
But yes, I love me some Harry Potter.
The books are brilliant.
Yeah,
Sandra.
if you have not read those books, because the development, and even
Yeah.
the story of he who shall not be named, right? I don't want to say his other name because I might be giving something away. But the development, how a hurt child hurts.
Yeah.
Be hug your kids,
Yes.
or they're going to turn into Lord Voldemort. You know what I'm saying?
I wonder how much that's had an effect on this kind of, they're still talking about sort of pagan and Wicca and tarot and all this stuff sort of growing in popularity. I wonder if that's kind of the generation of Harry Potter sort of moving on and sort of perhaps thinking about that. Be interesting.
That's very wise. And I also think that it took the taboo off. Because, the witches from when I was a kid, there was a show called Bewitched.
Oh, yes.
And so, you had Endora, and then you had, correct, Twiggle, they were still kind of something mysterious about them. Well, with Harry Potter, it was like a whole land. It wasn't just some family that was infiltrating, and they didn't even want to hang out with us. There were some people that we can't even stand these people.
Yeah.
So it just brought a different dynamic. Yeah. That's true. That Harry Potter world, and they thought, okay, this is good. We can expand. Exactly. It doesn't have to be a secret. We can talk about it. It's very true, Richie.
Yeah. And also, I mean, she drew on so many things from folklore in the stories and the names. And I mean, that's amazing to bring back old English names of things that have almost disappeared, but to be given some of the titles. I just love the fact that one of the characters called is Alistair. Do you know what I mean? It's just absolutely wonderful. I'm just putting up some of the lovely comments. Joan says you got a bit confused with the time zones. I get confused with the time zones, Joe. But you're here and I'm here, so that's great.
That's right. That's right.
And Sandra says we have a lot of ghosts here because we're so old. Beth says the Jubilee was really, really beautiful. I don't know if you saw the drones on the Saturday night. They didn't have fireworks. They had drones do a 3D display during the concert.
Oh my goodness, no.
Do look it up because it's amazing. It was making corgis and it made the postage stamp with the Queen's head on it. And
wow.
A cup of tea being poured. It's on YouTube. Just
I'm going to look it up.
It's amazing. Beth says, but all of Europe is old, and every time I go to England, I run into ghosts. Not just and Scotland, absolutely. There are many places that are haunted, including here, I think.
Your house?
I think so, yeah. It's Victorian, so I think there's things moving around here when I'm not looking. So
okay.
And Beth says I had a strong bond with my second son over Harry Potter. He grew up with it, and I more than encouraged it. I went to see every movie with him and read in the books. I mean, that's a lovely thing as well. The whole family kind of came together for Harry Potter. It appealed to every age group and stuff.
I'll tell you what was hard for me to see the movies, because I saw the first book, I was so heartbroken about how awful his family was. So that kind of kept my attention. But the second and third movie, I told my daughter, you can go see these, but I'm not, because it seems like the whole gist of every movie is how many people can kill Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But the books are not like that. So that's what I'm saying
Yeah. It's really interesting, and I think it's one of those things that, I mean, I know there's a lot of press as well about J.K. Rowling and her beliefs and her thoughts on, transgender people and stuff, but if you actually look at the work that she's created and try and put that into some perspective, it is really, really, it was encouraging to see children read again.
Yes.
That was interesting.
And so weird that she would have those feelings, because she introduced so many different type of people. It's like, how do you have all these transformative people transforming people, and then Yeah. So thank you for Harry Potter, and thank you for Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah. But then, the rest of it she needs to sort out.
Indeed.
Lovely. Okay. Let's talk about your new channel. Well, I say new channel. It's been a few months, hasn't it?
Yes.
Because you were on podcast, and do you still do your podcast?
Yes, I still do my podcast.
Mm-hmm. And that's fortnightly. You do those? Am I right in that one?
What does fortnight mean?
Every 2 weeks.
Speak English, okay? No. Yes.
Sorry, I forgot. Every 2 weeks you do one. Yeah, it's a
Yes,
word you're going to use now. It's fortnightly. You can put that into
yes.
your podcast.
I'm going to use that now. Fortnightly. So
Yeah,
yes, there
fortnightly. Yeah.
in quotes, fortnightly. Stuff happens. So I try to do them every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so part of where I'm at with my channel was I used to do a Tarot Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then Renee from Tarot Love Community, who is a part of my spiritual center here in Memphis, kept asking me to create my own channel. So I was like, I don't know how to do that. And I'm a boomer and I don't know how to do that. And I don't know nothing about that. And I don't know how to do that. So, but then I started watching people's channels. And so one day she literally got on the phone with me. And while I'm looking at my iPad, which is over here, we went through how to set it up. And so I recently had a reading that said I have to find not just my niche, but how I do my readings, because I do love tarot readings and I do love doing them for people. But I'm a traditionally ordained minister. So I'm an AME church, E being for Episcopal, because we broke up with Anglicans, broke up with the Catholic Church, and then we broke up with y'all here. So we have Episcopals and Lutherans. Yep. And so that training, my love for spirituality, my love for facts, and those gifts have been mine all along. So when I was in the church, I thought I didn't realize in some ways I was tapping into my psychic gifts. I was tapping into my intuition. And so I thought, how do I combine those? And that's what my channel gives me that capacity to do. One, there's so many great people. So that's what I have my tarot chat. I think the first one, I keep having more and more people. We all get caught up in the conversation. So I think the last 3 or 4 shows, I don't even think we touched tarot cards. That's fine. And then I'm going to do a show I want to do a show that's called Can We Talk, which I don't know if you remember Joan Rivers.
Yes.
Can we talk about things? So Katie Moonchild and I are talking about the Nag Hammadi. So for me, my channel, I love to teach. I love to preach. I love to present. And I want people to, in a very selfish way, get in contact with their spirituality and develop that. That's what the world needs. That's the next step.
Yeah.
But many people like you and I, or many people, the traditional church is not serving them. But people are still hungry spiritually. And if they're not getting that fed, just like you've ever had to deal with yourself when you're hungry, right? You're like, and then you get that little bit of candy, get you some good old chocolate, and all of a sudden you're calmed down.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what I'm wanting to serve people. Say, let me feed your spirit. And then let me show you how to do that. Let me bring my resources to encourage you, to empower you, to help you on your path. Let me use these sacred tools. And then there you go. And then bring my next person. Next set of people.
I love you saying that. That's kind of summed up how I've been feeling for many years. And you've just put it in a sentence, and that's amazing. But you're right. It's, that spiritual need, it's in us all. And perhaps this is why we are on the search with the tarot, with other things, just to try and explore that. And I can personally say that I wasn't brought up. I was brought up just the Church of England, but that was just high days, holidays. It was, go at Christmas and weddings. That was it. But yes, it was fundamentally a Church of England one. But I never felt particularly welcome there, or particularly had much feelings for it. Since the tarot, and I've done work thinking about the ancient gods and the modern gods and angels and all of that, I actually feel now closer to having a Church of England style religion than I've ever had before. And that's encompassing in the whole pantheon and obviously all my other spiritual beliefs that I'm working with through at the moment. So it's very interesting. People got all tarot cards, and tut, and, but actually it's brought me closer to perhaps what most people would understand to be a Christian religion.
It's very true. And Richie, I'm so glad to hear you say that. And that's what people don't recognize, that these are tools. Part of the challenge with American Christianity, it's all about when you die, you're going to heaven. So you can be a straight bastard your whole life. And then at the end, say this little prayer, Jesus, I'm sorry, or you said it when you were 12. So somehow it's going to wipe out all the stuff you did. And high holy days. Most people go to church on Easter, Christmas, maybe Mother's Day. So for me as a minister, my least favorite day at the church was Easter Sunday. Because it's full of people who don't know a damn thing about the services. So, Episcopal churches, people are standing, sitting, saying stuff, reciting, and people, it could almost be the Three Stooges in a movie, just, like Mr. Bean at church, right? Just craziness. Because people, I think, and that's my sort of challenge or my rant, if I can have a rant about the spiritual community.
Yeah.
You can't leave you left the church for a reason. Don't bring those bad habits into your spirituality. So, I only read my tarot when something, make it your lifestyle. That's part of the name, tarot living, that it's your lifestyle. We, just like I eat every day and I try not to, but I could drink every day also, but as I eat every day, you need to, I'm encouraging people to feed their spiritual selves. That makes us, that's our true selves. And that's when we can stop fighting and stop being, psychotic and all those things, they can heal you.
Yes.
Put you on the path towards healing.
And I discovered during the pandemic, because I had time to stop and I didn't have to go rushing through the rat race that is my work life, it put a little bit on pause. I had time to actually think about this and put practice into place. And actually, for me, in many ways, the pandemic was very useful for me spiritually, because that's when I grew my most. And it's a shame that in many ways it's all gone back to it, and I get caught up in the day-to-dayness and I don't have time, which is again why I love your videos in the morning with because I firstly admire anyone that can do it first that time in the morning, because I'm very much out of bed, get dressed, coffee, go. I'm one of those people, and I would love to have more time in the morning to sit there and actually meditate or do some work to get me set up for the day. But watching your video does kind of do that for me.
And that's the intent. Let's get a little inspirational reading, get our tarot oracle card, and get connected.
Yeah.
And that begins. Oh, there's Candy. I was
hi,
talking
Candy.
about
We
her
were
earlier.
talking about you. And hi, Jackie. Sorry, I'm not ignoring you. I did see you in chat. It's lovely to see you here. And I got busy talking, and I kind of forgot that you were there. But very lovely to see you here, Jackie. Beth saying, I feel as though no matter our personal experiences, people in this community all are actively seeking a spiritual experience, and we're open to one another's methods of doing that. Agreed. And we also have the forum to discuss it, and that's important as well.
Very true. So it's like you said, Richard, you're talking about the pantheon. So I'm going to have Rachel, now her last name escaped me, Rachel, who works with the Norse pantheon.
Oh.
And so we had to have a conversation, because there are some people who are on that Norse pantheon who think that means they're better than everyone. Of course, only in the US, because people have an issue with that here. But she was saying to me, we were talking about, I said, have you checked out the African pantheon? So I'm like, I am Black, but okay, because people don't want to assume. But again, she says that, if you take a look at the Norse pantheon and the African pantheon and the Indian pantheon, you take a look, you see a similarity, because there is that one understanding.
Yeah. Yes.
And so you can honor your tradition and have a heart open to where that tradition connects somewhere else.
I love that. I shall certainly watch those videos, and I'd like to be part of them if that's ever possible.
Oh my gosh, of course. Now, what pantheon would you want to talk about?
Oh, I think probably Roman Greek. Something like that.
Now, so what about King Arthur? What is that story representing? A real person or a narrative about?
I think it's a narrative. I think it's a lot of people wrapped up, a bit like Robin Hood. I think there's probably a lot of characters that have all been amalgamated together to make one. But I think the King Arthur story is very interesting. I haven't properly read it. I'm going to be honest with you. I've dipped in. I like the idea of Merlin.
Yes, I was going to ask you this.
And that kind of thing. And I like the folklore, and I like the artwork around it all. I do have a couple of King Arthur decks, oracle decks.
What?
But I always get very
I want to give
confused
me
as to
one of
who's
those.
who and related. It's like a really difficult soap opera to try and come halfway in on. So I have to work a bit more on that one there. So, oh, look, Beth loves Merlin as well. She just said that. But yeah, it tends to be more Roman, Greek.
Okay.
And particularly what really interests me is Romano British pantheons, which is when the Romans came to this country.
Okay.
And rather than just going, right, this is our set of gods, this is what you're going to do, they put them together with the local gods.
So, what is an example of someone?
So, an example of it is the goddess Minerva. Okay.
Okay.
Um, and when they came over, I don't know if you know of a place called Bath. It's called
Yes.
Bath. Yeah. The baths there are famous Roman hot spas, and you can go there, and that's where the bath came from. And originally, the springs before the Romans, they were for the local goddess who was called Aqua Sulis. Okay, Sulis was the pagan or the Celtic or whatever it was goddess at the time. So the Romans turned up and realized that you can't just come and inflict your new pantheon on people. You have to put them together. And so what they did is they took Sulis and they took Minerva and they made her one and looked at the similarities between them. And so actually the Bath complex there is under the watch of Sulis Minerva. And that's how they actually represented her and put her on a statue. And I just really like that idea of how you can take two things. I mean, it's worked in Christianity, hasn't it? It came along and adopted a lot of the a lot of the pagan holidays and festivals, and they called it Christmas and they called it Easter and they called it all those other parts. But, I'm just fascinated by how one religion slowly starts to use the other to grow.
Very interesting. So, with Brigitte, the Catholic saint, they tried to take her away from the Irish, and they were like, hell no. They're like, okay, she's a saint.
Absolutely.
They're like, she's in our church now. They're like, okay.
Everywhere. Was it Bridie, Bridget, St. Bridget? Absolutely. Yes.
That cracks me up. They're like, okay, she with us. Okay, we're good with that.
But it just goes to show that the dedication of people to her is so strong still, and that she can survive all these different interpretations and different character changes. I just find it really fascinating.
And then even Candy's talking about Brigitte and Saint Bridget. Yeah, it's like,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I still like the fact that in the Wheel of the Year, in bulk is the Festival of Bridget, and we use that time to think of snowdrops and the beginning of spring, and that's just a lovely time of the year as well. So yeah. Beth just said the Catholic religion did that in the South, in the US, in South America too, when they introduced people to Catholicism. That's why Candomblé has a mixture of African deities and saints. I think that is pretty true across anybody that comes in and takes over. They will put their stamp on it by trying to amalgamate. Probably I don't know if that's the right word or not.
That's true. And I think they found that sometimes they're trying to wipe them out didn't work, because it makes them even more determined about it. Like, you're not going to take them away from us, where you didn't do anything but one festival a year, and all of a sudden when someone's trying to take them away, now you're like straight devotee. So,
and do you know what? It works both ways, because Halloween, Samhain in Britain would have died if it hadn't been the lovely Americans take it, run with it, grow it, and bring it back to us. Because
why would it have died?
Because the Puritans were around at that time and they didn't want to celebrate it, and they thought it was really, really bad news. And so it was a festival that just completely you didn't do it. And Christmas and Easter was the ones that came back, and Halloween. Even when I was young, Halloween wasn't celebrated. There was no trick or treat. Trick or treating was a new kind of thing. It was. So it is only in the last probably 30, 40 years that it's come back, and it's a big celebration. And I think that's fantastic. So we thank the people across the pond for keeping our Halloween safe and growing it.
Just saying, if they can make money off it, let me tell you, Halloween is all about the candy nowadays. And
it is, yes, it is a big money spinner.
But that is, wow, I didn't know that. Dang.
Yeah. Beth, I'm not sure how the Western religions did that. And all she says, I know there were movies to entertain, but Asterix and Obelix and the whole topic was fascinating. Absolutely. I used to have those books and found it. And boy, did our candy companies take it and run with it.
That's right. That is right.
Should we have a look at some decks?
Okay.
We're 45 minutes into this and we haven't looked at a single card. We're going to have a look at some Oracle decks. Is that okay?
That's right.
Because one of the things one of the podcasts I was listening to you and getting, really into was you're talking of the Kyle Gray decks, because you're quite a big fan of Kyle Gray. How many decks do you have of Kyle?
I have all 5 of his decks. Now
I've only got the 2 of them here, but we can
manage.
manage.
Scorpio told me he's coming out with a 6th deck, and I think my daughter also told me that, and I will buy it.
What do you like about a Kyle Gray deck?
So people already said I speak my mind. So here we go.
Go for it.
So I saw a friend post this deck on her page, this picture. And I reached out to her and I said, you got a deck with Black people? Because, I had just Kyle Gray or Doreen Virtue.
Yes.
They was just. Now, angels aren't people, so I know they're not white or black, okay? But I wanted to see myself. And so I was like, what is going on with that? So that's how I initially got into it. And so this was the deck I got first. Yes,
I don't have that one, but I do like it's on my list.
And so once I started working with the angels, they're like, hi, we've been working with you all these years. I'm like, you have? And so they introduced themselves. So for me, transformation has been a huge part. Even when I had my traditional Christian ministry, it was called God's Delights Ministry, about delighting in God, right? Even that same thing, delighting in your spirituality and grasping it, loving it. And so this archangel, which is Archangel Zadkiel, about transformation. And Zadkiel, my daughter actually did a channeling where he's like, I've been with you for so many years. I love butterflies. I was like, dude, you're trying to tell me, and I didn't get it. And then for me, Archangel Raziel, because I want people to use their spiritual gifts. All the changes that people want to make in the world, all of us light workers, if we would just tap into that. And I know it's easier said than done, because we've all been told that is bad. And I know a lot of people have told me that for many of us light workers, there were probably a lifetime or two that we paid with our lives for those beliefs. So we're moving slowly. And then I've always had the gift of healing. I'm a Reiki master now, but even before that, I came from the Pentecostal church. So you could lay hands on people. You didn't need to have a Reiki training.
Yeah.
But you work with this great archangel.
That's a beautiful card.
Look at the cutie pants.
Yes. I love it. Oh, I'm certainly going to get this deck. Oh.
So I'll tell you, this is my other favorite one now that we're talking about it. And people, they'll say, but aren't you married to a woman? I say, I sure am, but I had a kid and I had some mans in my life before too. So I love how this is Archangel Azrael.
Hello.
So change and transformation. I'm like, that's right. I'm like, yes, the angel of death show up looking like this, buddy. Come on in the damn door, okay? I'm just saying. Like, just bring it. Bring all that. Come on. We're gonna work it. I'm not dying today, but you shall come on in here. We're gonna work this out. There's
a lot of love in the room for the Kyle Gray decks there. And Jackie says he is pretty cute too.
Yeah.
I hadn't noticed, Jackie.
There you go. Indeed. So I fell in love with that deck. And then this was my next deck, which you have. Which is Keepers of the Light. And I think this was actually this was the first deck.
Yeah.
And so to just get introduced to that concept of Ascended Masters, which was something very new to me.
I don't know very much about Ascended Masters, and it was this deck that kind of got me. I'm not going to say that I've read a lot about it, because I've read the guidebook and that's about it. But I have done a bit of research on the interweb. But I'm just very into this. And I find this deck really, I have it around the whole time. and it's quite often I will pull a card just before I go to work from this, just to have something to think about. And it's just there on the shelf behind me, and it's just there, and it's my go-to deck. And I don't really know why, but it's really interesting how this deck has just got me, and I absolutely love using it, and I find it very comforting. And I can also get the pictures in my head and carry it for me for the rest of the day. That's also useful.
Well, the image and the feeling that I'm really getting is partially because you're an old soul. And many of these people, you have known them in different incarnations. So when you look at that card, those are real energy coming back to, oh, yes, this is my friend. This is my friend. And so, yeah, that's a good. So what are some of the cards that you like in there?
I like the Bridget card. I find, now this might sound a little bit weird, and I don't want to upset anyone by saying this, but I really love this card because
Mother Mary, yes, it's a beautiful card.
It's a beautiful card. I have to say, things like church icons freak me out. Okay, particularly ones that show a lot of suffering and pain. So I've got a bit of I don't like going into churches that have got a lot of statues and a lot of icons, because I feel very uncomfortable being in there. And so I have a bit of a kind of issue with the way that Mary, the Mother Mary, has been portrayed in the past, particularly when I've seen some of the beautiful statues like Michelangelo, beautiful pieces of work of art, but they leave me a little bit cold. This is the first time I came across an image that I felt really represented the love and the peace, as the title suggests. But I got that from that card, and I find it quite emotional, actually, this card. And I just think it's beautifully executed. The artwork in it, it's Lily Moses, isn't it?
Yes, I love her.
Absolutely
I love her. I'm
stunning.
trying to think. She did a couple of his other decks too, and I love it.
Yeah, she did the Angels and Ancestors. So that's a card that I would sometimes just pull it just to look at the card, just to go through the deck. I just find it very comforting. And I like the Bridget card, like I said.
That's right. I got it right here.
And
I love this flame. And the symbols behind her, just so powerful. So powerful.
And I like the Archangel Michael card.
Yes, that is a good card. That red flame, that just I
find that very powerful. And again, that's something I've been working with recently. And I just find the messages, but particularly the images, to be very, as I say, comforting. So that's what the Mary Magdalene, I just think they're very beautiful. The only thing I wish they weren't on glossy cardstock. That's the only thing I don't like about the deck. It feels, if it was on matte, it would be just perfect. But one day, who knows, that may come about.
That's true.
What about you? What's your favorite ones from that deck?
Of course, these are entities that I work with. So Lord Ganesh, Lord Shiva, which I just love, and then Lord Ganesh. So I have a whole tarot deck, Whispers of Ganesh, that I just love.
This is the Keepers of the Light Oracle
Keepers
card.
of the Light by Kyle Gray.
You can pick these up on eBay, Candy, quite reasonably.
That's true. I bought them off of Amazon.
Yeah, they're quite probably less than £20, I would imagine. And I would really recommend it. It's a really
yes, you cannot go wrong with his decks, not at all.
Yeah.
Because he is a cutie pie, but he also has just a very sweet energy and a very connected and grounded energy, and that comes through.
Yes, I've seen a lot of lectures and a lot of his stuff that he's put. I don't know if he does quite so much on YouTube now, but he used to have a lot of videos that would come out that are very useful. Just things about how to ground yourself, how to sort of get protection from angels, and I mean, he has a gift from a very early age. When he's interviewed, he's quite young on telly when he first started talking about this. So yeah, he obviously knows what he's talking about, and I don't feel that there's, how can I put this? I don't feel there's going to be any U-turns in his career, if you get my drift on that one. Like some people we may mention.
We shall remain nameless, right?
Exactly.
How did you feel about that whole thing?
I did. I don't know. I'm people can do whatever they want. I don't have a problem with that. What I have, I don't know. I'm gonna have to workshop that in my own thoughts. I kind of felt, can you? I don't really know the full backstory to make a judgment on that one. I think we might need to perhaps have another live, and we could talk about that if we felt brave enough to do, because I've still got to work through it. But it doesn't leave very comfortable. It doesn't leave me very comfortable.
I have a friend that when that happened, she wrote Hay House and sent all her cards back and asked for her money back.
Yeah, I totally get that, and I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. So here's my evil thought about it.
Go for it.
Here's my evil thought. We're talking about Doreen Virtue, right? Let's just put it out there that she made bank millions of dollars, right? And that I think in my mind, she needed a new audience. She had maxed out. Now she could have changed. She could have done something different. But part of me feels like that. But I don't think she realized how Christians are either you're with us or you're against us. Because when she first did that, and Hay House made a pretty penny too. Very true.
Yeah, absolutely.
She was saying, I remember when she first said, well, I don't believe in her cards, her Ascendant MasterCard, but I still believe in fairies. And I remember this commentator was saying, oh, we got to pray for her. She's still under delusion, right? That it's cut and dry. It's, you're either with us or you're against us. Yeah, my daughter's moving to South Africa. Please go to her Etsy shop. She's like, you can't be leaving nothing in this house. No, she's trying to sell her stuff. So
I've actually still got a Doreen deck, and I think it might. I don't know how I got it, because firstly, it's not the kind of Oracle deck I would have bought, so I have no idea how it came into it might have just appeared overnight by something bought it in. I don't know. All right, I've never used it, but I can't get rid of it. It's really strange.
I don't care. I like what a page. I don't hear people that change their past, but don't come. Yeah, that's true. People's minds can change, but yeah, then don't say those people are evil. The folks you got all your money from.
Yeah,
give the money back.
The way it was done. It's okay to do a U-turn, but don't try and take out the people that have supported you by doing it.
Yes, agreed. Very well said. Very well said.
I was about to say who needed a new audience, but you said it. Absolutely. It's one of those things. I mean, it's an interesting topic, and it's people, I suppose, not skirt around it. And it's really interesting for us to talk. And particularly, I really appreciate your thoughts on it, because it's something I've never really talked about, even with Gerald or something like that at all. We've never gone into it. Perhaps there is, time to have a live and go a bit more in depth about it, and I need to take a bit more of a balanced and more well-read view, I think, before
I think it's true. And I think, some of it, it's like, c'est la vie. Do what you think is best for your life. But I think Aspasia got it correct. Don't then say, now all those people are evil.
Yeah, you're all damned for it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But, and just people who come on these channels and are like being trolls, it's like, tell me what the fuck, for entertainment purposes only.
Absolutely.
Why are you even on this channel? If you think it's evil, why just stay the fuck away. Don't come on here quoting your little Bible verses or why? I'm not on the Christian channel quoting something by Ernest Holmes, something that's just, I don't understand why people do that.
I don't understand it, or why they feel the need to do it. And to be honest with you, if they're going to do that, there's better ways that they could be helping the world than coming into live channels and getting blocked constantly.
Yeah, it's very true. Years ago, I used to work in the banking industry here in the US. And I cannot tell you just some of the brilliant ways that people were defrauding the bank. And I thought, if you could put that same energy into doing something that would be beneficial.
Yeah.
But just, I don't get it.
Tony says, I hope she gave away all those pretty pennies along with her judgment. Jones says, yes, why do they do that? Oh, I don't know. I think it's almost people do it as a kind of, I don't know. It's like, I don't know why people do it, and I wish they wouldn't, but they do. They seem to get a kick out of it.
I'm not on the cooking show trying to say, no, your recipe's wrong, and if you don't like it, don't do it.
Yeah, you're quite right there. Some people just want to get attention with the negative things. It's easier to just destroy things than to create it there. Hello, Kay. Welcome. And a lovely smiley face there. That's great to see there. And all she says, I wish they would give me Bible quotes that connect to the cards. Now that would be interesting. Yeah. One path only mentality is why. Yeah.
Very true, Candy. Very true.
Right. So, and Lisa's hello. She's been lurking. Hello, Lisa. Lovely to see you here. I hope you're doing okay. I want to go back to talking about your tarot or oracle cards, or whenever you're going to set up a reading. Do you have any particular routine? I'm not going to use the word rituals, but do you have any particular routines that you get yourself into before you would do a reading for either yourself or for another person?
Yeah. So one of the things is I don't drink. So if on the days that I have readings, I'm like, come on, everybody, schedule early because I want to have my drink later. Because, I want to be in my right mind.
Yes.
So that's very important to me. So,
absolutely right.
And then I won't start if I haven't taken the time to sit still or I won't start a reading. Even if I just say, listen, I'm going to be 5 minutes late, if we're doing it on FaceTime or something, I need that 5 minutes. So it's very important for me to clear my cards. So whatever deck, I'm going to take it over some sage or incense. And then I'm going to make sure that I have really meditated and connected so that I come in that right energy. To me, I feel like when someone is coming to me for a reading, just the same way I felt like when I was a minister, or even now I'm a minister at a non-traditional church, there is a sacred trust.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I get frustrated when people are like, oh, does Richie like me? It's like, the fuck? Ask Richie. Don't be coming to me for a reading, right? Yeah. Right. And I get it. Those and I don't know how to say that in a nicer way. So all of you put sugar on it and nicen it up. But to me, there is a sacred calling, a sacred connection. And so I come in that space. And so, yes, the ritual is to make sure that I am in the best space possible.
Mm-hmm. Lovely.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. I think, yes, it's one of those things you have to just calm yourself, whether it's meditation or do whatever. It's the one thing I never seem to have time to do. I always do myself a misservice. I try and sit there calmly, and then the phone will go or something like that. And it's like, I need to give myself more time. And I do when it's time for big things. But yeah. But when I'm doing a proper reading a reading for other people, then that is a time when I go, I set myself up. It's almost like I want to put on a different voice when I'm reading for other people. It's really weird. It's like something unlocks in my head, and it's and I talk about 50,000 words a second, but it seems to work, and I don't know what it is. So it's working, so we don't change it. So
very true. And I think if you like, one of the things to do a reading and to bring yourself into that space. I was reading for this, I'll never forget this wonderful, wonderful man. And he was like from Central America. Yeah. And I was doing the reading for him. I worked at a metaphysical store at that time. And as I was doing the reading, his ancestor came. Right. So I could see him, not that he was there, but so I almost started stumbling over my words because he was wrapped in like this beautiful, you could tell it was the blanket for royalty is what he was wrapped in. And then he had a crown, or what I would call a crown. Now I said it was made out of elk horns, but I don't know if there's elk in Central America or wherever, it was from the animal of that. But, just the powerful things that happen in a reading when you allow yourself, or I'll say to speak for myself, when I allow myself to become that vessel to where I can step into that sacred space. I did a reading for a woman one time, and her people were from like Scotland or from England. Just they were very thin, but I just remember waving, just beautiful blonde hair, emerald green clothes. They're even like vivid now, emerald crowns, just and so I'm seeing this, and like they're trying to talk, just and then you get the people who came for the reading for something else, but their guides were really trying to get them. So then you'll see, I ever get the guides all standing with their arms like this. I tell them, your guides got their arms crossed. And so I remember one time I got a reading, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And they gave me all these cards, and the whole thing was about you're going to a new direction. You're going to leave behind. So I go through this whole read, I don't know. And I finally say, here's my client in front of me. And I'm like, listen, just a minute. Because now I'm talking to the guides. You could have just gave me the 8 of Cups or the 6 of Swords. Like, I don't know if y'all know the tarot deck. So let me get you.
I love that. Yeah. It's you had to do that. Look, people say
it's a very powerful. It is
fantastic. It's lovely to hear.
Yeah, it is all the things, I got to come correct.
Have you ever had the time when you've done a reading for someone and you just doesn't work? If you go, no, I can't do this. Does that happen to you often?
I did a reading for someone, and so right away came that this person was LGBTQ. So I gave the whole reading. I started on it, and the person goes, no, I'm not gay. So I thought, okay, let me take a deep breath. So I'm like, okay, guides, do you reckon, I'm like, all right, feeling in my mind, do you recognize this person? Okay, this is what y'all just told me. This is what the cards are telling me. Okay, so I apologized. So I said, obviously there's a friend of yours who was gay and he needs to come out and talk to you about it. So please be open. And then I did the rest of the reading. And do you know what he said to me at the end of the reading?
Right.
I'm the person. So now I'm like, do I slap you, cuss at you, sock you? Right? Because what am I doing the whole reading? Like, bitch, you was off. You didn't hear right. You couldn't read the cards right. So I haven't had a reading where I haven't had I've had people who are blocked. Like just the same reading where I talked about that the beautiful ancestors came, they're wisping hair. The girl was sat here like this the whole time. Yeah. So she was not receptive to it, but I was going to give it to her. I don't know if I ever had a reading. I had a reading one time where there was some kind of dark energy right across the person's face. Really? And so I looked at my cards. I knew that I was safe, and she was just transitioning from that type of energy. So it was just the last bit. So when I said something about it, I said, are you here for the right reason? And then it just cleared away. I said, okay, it's the last of that. But that's true. He needed to trust me. You are right. But I cannot tell you how off I felt. Like, how could I be so off?
How would you, after that, kind of cleanse yourself so that you can then get on with your day-to-day business? Do you have a closing down routine?
I always have either with the sage, or I will, do like this to cleanse the energy from that. But sage myself always.
Yeah. I need to do that a bit more as well, I think.
It's true,
I'm gonna have to really think about what I do.
If you're an empath, so my wife's a Cancer, my daughter's a Cancer, I'm Virgo sun, so I never really, and I'm Virgo sun, Sagittarius moon, and Libra rising. So someone told me the Sagittarius is the intuitive, but you can be intuitive no matter what sign you are. But my wife and my daughter, both high level empaths, have to protect themselves when they do. So I thought, well, I'm not like that, right? But here I don't like big crowds. Mm-hmm. No, I love to be in the crowd, but not in a crowd, right? Mm-hmm. So all these things. So I'm talking to my boss one day, and she's like, oh, you are so good at work. Miss V, you are so good. And you just really feel the pain of the managers and you really try to do whatever you can to help them. You are so empathic. I'm like, oh, shit, I'm an empath. So now what I do, I make sure that I'll always wear something like I have a black onyx bracelet or I'll have a black tourmaline, something to protect myself because, light attracts. So there are energies and entities that want that light.
Yeah.
And,
you don't want to be carrying that around with you. No.
Correct.
No. You lovely comments still. Just going to go through that fascinating, powerful gift. And Candy says, wow, powerful experience. Does Stephen like me pales even more? It's a question.
But I have to check myself because that's important. And a lot of I try to get better about it because a lot of people don't know how to interact with love. They don't know how to touch with love. They don't. And so I get it, but it's like, really? Yeah. Just go ask the person. But, so I know. Yes, he needed to trust me. She's so right.
Yeah, absolutely. Or she says, I wish I had something like this, but all I have is my airhead. And we love you for it.
That's right. That's airhead. That's that crown chakra. You're probably using more of your gift than you realize. It's probably so natural to you that you don't realize it.
Lily's giving me a shopping list to take tomorrow. Yes. So thank you, Lily, for that one there. And Beth says I'll use smudge sprays.
Yes, and Lily's talking about the time I set off the smoke detector in the house too. Was it
bad? Was it a bad experience? I've got smoke detectors here on the whole building, and it was like, I don't want to get the neighbours turfed out because I'm trying to get myself rid of an entity. Full windows. I tend to use incense sticks rather than sage. But
yes, and that, yes.
That somehow makes life a bit easier. Yeah. Cases, I like sprays too. And Tony says, there's a poltergeist psychic woman's voice in the back of my head. They attracted to the light. Yeah. Okay. And sometimes they know the answer, just want the confirmation. Cheating partner's not interested. I think you're absolutely right there. Yeah, it's I was talking to Orshi about this week, talking about when people come to you about relationship issues they want to find out about, because that tends to be what people are most interested in.
Very true. Very true. I had a lady come to one reading, did her husband something, not quite that my husband still love me, but is my relationship in a good place? And I thought, okay, so like the first card she got was the 10 of Cups. Okay, that's like super positive. She had a whole bunch of cards like that. So I said, things are looking good. I think if you just sit down and talk with them. So this is the thing about, tell me what has this happened to you, Richie? So I said, so I really appreciate, so Minnassa is the best reader I ever got. Thank you so much. I love you. So I said, oh, darling, I appreciate it. I hope that things continue well. Do you mind giving me a Yelp review? Crickets. It's like, I don't want to be your dirty little secret. Okay. If you're going to get a psychic reading, do you find that, has that happened to you?
I don't tend to worry about, but I do say to people, if I quite often do them for free, so I don't charge for them too often. I want to think about getting into that bit. But if people come to me,
have a talk with me. You need to charge.
Yeah,
that's your gift.
Exactly. But if I feel like I want to do a reading for someone, I kind of think, I will do this for you, but are you actually going to listen to what's going to say? I'm not going to make your mind up for you, but are you ready to possibly hear what's going to say? And are you going to act on that, whatever happens? And rather than just, oh, well, that was that. It was the best reading ever, but you're still going to ask me 2 weeks later the same question because,
Now, there's been some memes about that. Like, don't come back to me. We had this reading a month ago. I had a woman who every month wanted to read about this relationship she was in.
Yeah.
And eventually, it's like the cards aren't going to change.
Exactly.
I love this. Yeah, I use the Archangel Sword of Truth. Left, right. I love that. I'm going to steal that or appropriate.
Yeah, thank you. We're going to
do it the American way. I will appropriate it, but I'll give you the credit.
And all she said, I got 2 reviews from 50 readings. And Candy says, you sound like my decks. I walk to them and then say, no, go do the work.
Yes, go do the work. And that's the whole thing. I think come kind of full circle back to our original, that to be a spiritual person, it takes work.
Yeah. Yeah,
Even if you,
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And again, taking time to do it. And that's what we invest in our time and what we invest in our beliefs and our practice is important, and is important to us. And it's a bit like, as you said earlier, about you wouldn't go to the doctor and self-diagnose and tell them what to do, and it's like, it's the same kind of thing.
very true.
Mm.
Very true.
Lots of lovely comments. Tony says people won't give reviews. Yeah.
Yes, I stopped asking, and I
Yeah.
have a Yelp page, but
Yeah. It's almost like, I don't know why people don't do that. It's almost like, I suppose it's like giving something on TripAdvisor or something like that, isn't it? You only complain if either you've had a brilliant experience or a really bad experience.
true.
And you're only doing it to try and get some money back, or to try and get vouchers or coupons or something like that at all. So, yeah, I just find that whole thing a bit. But then I don't look at ratings, and I don't particularly look at, I don't worry about subscribers. I've taken that one off because I just do it because I enjoy doing it. And it doesn't matter if I've got one person or a million people. It doesn't matter to me.
Very
That's
true.
what I try.
Very true.
That's my motivation behind it. So,
Very true.
yeah. My cushion, I noticed, I think it was Tony. Was it Tony mentioned about the cushion, or was it Beth? My Raven cushion. Thank you very much. It's a special Raven cushion for the Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the Raven said never mind. Well, it looks a bit more like a blackbird than a raven, but never mind. But I bought that leather chair. It's quite old, from Hastings, a big old town down the road. And
It's very
nice.
nice.
I just wanted a really special cushion to go in. So it's my winter chair. I can sit there in a blanket with a nice.
That's right. You're expecting the
Gray
sun.
video.
Yes, you're expecting the sun, and you get the tower.
Exactly. Totally. I'm going to start wrapping this one up. I don't want to, but we've been going for an hour and a quarter.
I know. We gotta.
Flown by, and we haven't talked about hardly anything yet. That I've literally just touched the surface. But I did want to make time for this because it is Pride Month, and as I said the other day, I watched your Pride video, which I really enjoyed. So we're just going to end by talking a little bit about Pride, if that's okay with you.
Okay. Yes, sir.
What does Pride mean to you? That's a tough question, isn't it? Or is it?
It is, and in a way. So if you'd asked me this question when I still lived in California, it'd be so easy to answer. But living here in the South, so my wife and I got married, and we have a beautiful house. We wanted to get married on the front porch. Now, I was afraid because I live in Tipton County, which is a small little county here in Tennessee that is very, very Republican. They love them some Trump.
Yeah.
And my daughter, first, I wanted to get, and I told her, she was, you can't be afraid. Your angel is going to protect you. So what Pride represents to me is that boldness to say, I don't care. I am proud. I'm proud of who I love, period.
Yeah.
Or I'm proud of who I'm attracted to, or the possibility. And that's what it means to me. And I love the colors, the rainbow. You're not going to shut me down. You're not going to make me bland. That's probably one of the challenging things about living here is the conformity and not shining your light. Just like mediocrity here is very good.
Yeah.
And so to me, Pride is about standing out and being just that. I'm proud of who I am.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you that I was 50, I guess maybe 50. When I fell in love with my spouse, who's my wife now, and crying at 50, coming out to my mother about it. So afraid. My mother, traditional Christian, and the fact that she wasn't going to be down with it. So first, my mom says, I already kind of figured that out.
Mums know.
Correct. Then we had lunch together, and she was throwing all these Bible verses at me. And, you're a minister, you're ordained, you went to seminary, you should know better. And I listened. It's the first time her and I ever had a conversation. I'll say, well, we were honest with each other. And eventually I had enough, and I said, Mom, I am the happiest in any relationship that I have ever been.
Oh.
And she stopped. It's hard to hear that. Hard to trump that from your child because I've been in some relationships. My husband, I am lucky to, I'll just say there could have been great opportunities for physical harm in that relationship. And there was a lot of harm in other ways.
Yeah.
So I think when she heard me say that, she was like,
And
okay.
that was just a perfect sentence, and no one can ever question that or say anything against that, because that's the perfect sentence.
All right, Orsi, I'm there. Let me know.
We can all pile onto our channel. We'll all go. That is so nice to hear. That is a lovely story, and again, it just shows the joy that comes out of your personality. You just exude this wonderful energy, and that's all part and parcel of it. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you. Now, do you have a partner?
I have a husband, Peter.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, he doesn't ever show his face on YouTube.
Yeah, my wife's the same. I'd have to.
Technical background. He's the one that sets the cameras up, and when it all goes horribly wrong, I go, Peter, can you come and help me?
Okay, well, good.
He's in the other room watching this, or we'll be watching it at another point. He's also the one that he's got a bit of a funny thing where he always hides the stash. Do you know about Stash Trooper?
No, what is that?
So Stash Trooper is a stormtrooper from Star Wars head.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's got one of Gerald's moustaches on it, and he likes to hide it in a different place in the live. And it's here, and I can see it. And that's his idea of fun. It's that he keeps moving. So if anyone can spot Stash Trooper, I can give you. It's quite obvious today where Stash Trooper is, but that's what he likes to do. So he supports me, and he puts up with me buying the decks, and he puts up with me talking to hours to people on the, and that's again why I just absolutely love him. Yeah, he is. Oh, he's my number one hero. Yeah.
Isn't that good to have that type of love in your life?
Yes, it is absolutely, and I wish everybody can experience something like that, because that is just wonderful, and I'm very lucky. He would say he's also very lucky to have me, because of course he is.
Of course. I mean, is that even an issue here? I don't think that's an issue. That's why I tell Denise every day, you are so lucky to have me. No.
Do you know what? That's very important to say that every day. Yes. Yeah, just to say that. So, oh, she goes, we love Peter. And look, Lily goes, and Denise is awesome, my stepmom. That's so nice to hear. Oh, look at all the love that people look. That's all that matters. My kids' happiness in the world.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna make me cry if you carry on like this. Why? I'll reach out. And Jackie's gone for the emojis, loving it. Joy mixed with strength. Absolutely. That's so nice. Jackie says, I love Peter. And Richie.
It'll put you in parentheses. Yeah, that's sort of how it is.
Okay, I can see that. No, I know that one then. Dragorsi, that's Orsi. I was looking for Stash Trooper. Have you found him yet? That's the question. And yet, you're right. Ben does find Stash Trooper. No, not all the time, but he does do a good job on it. But yeah, he normally does.
He's not giggling
after the live and goes, "I know where it is." Yeah. Oh, it's next to the stream. Yeah, well done, Orsi. And Orsi's getting 2 of Cups. Equality. Oh, that's nice. You guys have got it. There's the Stash Trooper. It's up. Hang on. There he is.
You can see that my StreamYard is covering it. The little logo.
Oh, you have to watch it on playback, won't you? I can help you. It's there. It's there. I hate these things, how they go back to front, isn't it? That just is really seems it's there. Have you ever tried holding it? Anyone's never been on StreamYard will not realise how difficult it is to hold a card up to a camera when it goes in the opposite direction.
Right. You're like, here, this is my card. Like, oh, wait, here.
Yeah, hang on a moment. It's like, oh, brilliant. What have you got coming up then, Minnassa? What's you got coming up in the next week or so that we should be looking out for?
Well, So next, so my show Tarot Talk with Minnassa, the Diva of Divination, is the first and third Saturday. So the next Saturday, which it'll be whatever is the third Saturday, the 18th or something.
Yeah,
because
something like that.
I have Scott Scorpio, and he is LGBTQ,
Yeah.
and we're gonna talk about pride, and I think we might also maybe talk about grief. He just recently lost his mother.
Yeah.
And he's having not some struggles, but he has a great community, but he's isolated. So we're going to talk about that. And he just did a thing on cards, and I want to talk more about it. And Chris from Elemental Cartomancy, from the bit I could understand, has also been talking about cards. And that's important. What are cards that you can use to represent the community that you're a part of?
Well, Scott was doing a reading today. He pulled a card for me because he was doing his Pride deck, so that was really nice. So I really appreciated that. So yeah. I've got a couple of decks, but I'm not happy with the Pride decks I've got. I don't think that they.
It's funny. Do you
really show me? But
I have I got it. I think it's called Pride Tarot. And so I can be very flexible and understanding, but to me, when it comes to the cards, the 8 of Wands is the only card in the deck that does not have people in it. And it should be that way. Well, this one has a person in it. And it's like, but this was done as a collaborative. So
okay. I don't think I have that one. I've got quite a lot of. I've got some, but I never.
Don't be quoting this to Chris, okay? Don't be telling him what I said.
He is, and if he was in here, this chat, I would tell him that. Yeah. I love that. The bit you can understand from Chris. Perhaps he'll put subtitles up. Well, what have I got coming up? Oh, I've got something exciting happening tomorrow, Saturday. Gerald is hosting
his birthday party
for Ben of Beneficial Tarot. And I think that's 9 o'clock British time in the evening. So that's going to be 4 o'clock Eastern time. And whatever that is, therefore, after
3 o'clock Central time.
So do come along because we are celebrating the boy's birthday. And of course, our main aim is to try and make him blush and turn red. That is our main aim.
Which the giggle part will be easy. He giggles the whole time.
It'd be very easy. But I do come along and, everybody would be lovely to see you to help celebrate Ben's birthday.
Indeed. I love birthday.
10 p.m. CET.
Now, what is CET?
Central European time, I believe.
Which means not the same thing as BST?
No. So Orshi is in Hungary and she is an hour on.
Oh, how interesting. She's in Hungary.
Yeah, she's in Hungary. So she's an hour on from us. And basically, you've got British time and then anything in Europe is an hour on or perhaps 2 hours on. But the annoying thing is we don't all have the same summer time changes together. So sometimes we can be 2 hours ahead or behind or whatever it is. It's very confusing.
Yeah, just like here in the U.S., you have Pacific, Mountain, Central, and Eastern. Now I live on the west side of Tennessee, so I'm in Central time. But the eastern side of Tennessee is in Eastern time.
How do you cope with that then? If you need to talk to somebody, that does
You better know. You better know. In Arizona doesn't change the time. So there's a time that they're in Pacific time, and then they're with the real. Yeah.
Well, it's just a good thing that computers kind of work the time.
Exactly.
I'm thankful that I just put it on StreamYard and YouTube just works it all out, and you guys have all turned up at the right time.
That's true.
Dawn, I think.
Yes, YouTube tells you what time. No,
so
very true. Very true. Very true.
The US isn't going to change times after November 20.
Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We shall see. They've talked about it before.
Daylight saving, and I know Europe are talking about it, and yeah. Oh, Tony's got red rich tea and white lightning cider at the ready, or is it hooch for the kid? It could be. I mean, Ben will probably have a drink. It is his birthday. So thank you everyone for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Please like, subscribe to Minnassa channel if you haven't done so already. Make sure you hit the bell so that you can see all her wonderful videos and get alarms and bells to tell you when she's put a video up and when she's live. Thank you so much, Minnassa. It's been wonderful. As I said, we haven't got through half the things we wanted to talk about. We're going to have to do this again.
That's right. You're going to come on my channel too.
You let me know. I will be there like a shot. Have a great weekend, everybody, and take care.